Hey guys, it's Gus, and let's talk a little bit about a topic. It's kind of humorous, actually. It's the term HDPS, and apparently that has multiple definitions as well. But generally speaking, that means high DPS. I don't know what that means, and there's a lot of people who don't know what that means. So I asked. I asked on Reddit, the Arc forums, Discord, YouTube, and Facebook. So I asked around, and thank you for everybody for the input, because there's some great insights to that term. It was, but there's a downside, with 225 people providing input. The one thing that I took away from it is there was not two definitions that matched. So 225 people commented on what it meant, and 225 people had different definitions on what high DPS means. So if I thought I knew what it was, I'm actually more confused. I'll go over some of the comments on it, and but before I do, I keep forgetting to do this. So sorry about this, buddy. Um, so I bought this. This is 2 months ago. I found this in the auction house. It was a mythic. What's that? Envenomed artifact. And I think they forgot a zero because they listed it at 200k. I believe they meant 200k. And his name is STS 1977. So at STS 1977, and then we'll go like this. And hopefully, since I spent 200k, he sends me back something worth 200k. Um, if not, it's probably gonna make his day. Uh, Zero, buddy. Uh, I don't know who this is. Sorry for the delay. And I kept it because I was gonna do this in a video. Because I have been burnt missing a zero multiple times, and I used to get excited when I found steals in the auction house, but I feel bad because I know how it feels. So let's see if I just made his day better or her day better. We'll see. Um, yeah, somebody misses a zero on something that's high value like that. I've done this a couple times in the past. Usually they sent back a thank you note. One person just ignored it. I was like, oh, that's weird. It was like a rank 14 enchantment back when they were 8 million. It was like 800k. So I sent it back. I was like, can you send? I was expecting like a Cold War maybe, but oh well. So high DPS. Facebook had 117 comments. Reddit had 32. The Arc forums had 6. Discord around 12, and YouTube had around 46. So about 225. The ones I liked the most were actually on the YouTube and the Discord. So on Discord, there was some great. Usually they weren't definitions; they were opinions. It's an elitist term, um, but this is my favorite. They can't tell you what it is, but they know it when they see it. Because there's a lot of comments that said you got to be 75k item level. Well, I know from my experience, item level has almost no effect on people's damage output. I mean, it's an indicator, but it's definitely not a sign. For example, I made that 83k tune, about 2 months ago, and it didn't even place on the board once in 3 Tom runs. It was pure shit. It was garbage. And then some people it says has to do with your gear. Band of air and ribcage and 3 journals. Well, yeah, I think those do contribute to your damage, but that doesn't indicate you're going to be a high damage player because there are people with those who still haven't figured out how to do their class very well yet. Which me, I still think I have room to learn in my class as well. So I don't know if we could say your gear matters on your item level. I think gear may be an important part because you can have the best rotation and then know the dungeon the best, but you need the gear to augment that rotation. Some people say your stats have to be maxed out. Well, look at this shitty stats, right? This is pure garbage, right? You don't see people post pictures of these, on any of the forums. But this build is freaking powerful as hell. Generally people like running with me, I think, and stats, I think. are important. I think they're slightly overrated. I think they're third on our priority list, to be honest. That's just my opinion. Uh, I don't think you can have a maxed out tune, max stats that is going to do as good as output damage as uh, um, build that's not maxed out, to be honest. Just from my experience. There is one specific class that, or two classes that maybe that wouldn't apply to. But for my class that I enjoy, HR, very rarely do you see people with max out stats, doing significantly more damage than everybody else. Reddit is great. You know why Reddit's great? Because it filters the comments from the most upvoted to the most, which ones were the greatest. And the best one, and appreciate everybody. I'm not naming names though, because I didn't get their permission. I like to do that before I say any names on a YouTube, just out of mutual respect for people. And this player's definition is great. I don't think there's a standard definition of high DPS, and most alliances are right to ban that use of the term. I never use it, and I don't respond to people asking for it. I'm on board. There's, if I'm farting around, I will gladly join a PE chat group. But when they ask for high DPS, I can't respond because I don't consider myself a high DPS. This build does great, but look at my race. I'm a drow. I'm not at my max damage potential with this drow. I think I'm improving the group's damage potential, but not mine. So I can't respond. So all those people asking for high DPS, I can't help them. Uh, there's some people who pointed out that there's some good times to use it. For example, if you're in a training run where you got one or two new players, we know in 5-man content that high DPS can usually carry the whole group regardless of those two players' mistakes. And they're asking for it. But usually it's good to say that. Training group, need a big hitter, need a high DPS, whatever. Um, our alliance uses the term helper. We know what helper means. That way they don't have to type everything out. Hey, it's a training run, but we want to complete. We want to do a completion training run, and we need a big hitter to help us. That's what helper means. I like that term. Some people say high DPS is the same as experience. Ooh, so I am not looking back, but I asked what that meant on our Facebook page. Holy shit. It had like 200 comments, and every single one of them had different definitions. Experience does not mean the same to everybody. Uh, some people who respond to this high DPS say experience is high DPS. Well, that's absolutely not true either, I think, because I don't know. I'm trying not to put my opinion in here whatsoever, because I don't. I'm old school, and there's very few people who rightfully probably deserve that title, and those players are usually very humble because they remember when they weren't, and they always know they're one crit away or one mess up away from not being high DPS. And if you claim you're a high DPS and you don't get first, egg in your face. I remember, I'll tell you a little story. We were in Bell one time, and this is back when Bell was a little bit harder. Our item level was significantly lower, and we were doing hard Bell. And I was just hosting in zone chat. I said, hey, hosting hard Bell times 3, need 4 DPS. Never said high DPS. And this player responds back, invite high DPS. And I was like, whoa, this is some hot shit, right? Let me take a look. I was like, I don't know. I don't see how that setup can make you do significant damage. And I responded back, high DPS, question mark. And he says, yep. I said, okay. I said, I'll take you anyways, bud. But are you sure you're high DPS? Yes. And it was so funny because what's great about Bell is, if you have 5 DPS, everybody's damage at the end. And I literally did 10 times as much, and I'm not a high DPS. So if I'm not a high DPS doing 10 times as much damage as a high DPS, obviously there's somebody doesn't, either my definition of high DPS is wrong or his definition of high DPS is wrong. And I said, I thought you said you're a high DPS. Holy shit, the cuss words that started flying out. So I said, I'll never comment on it again. Man, because those people who think they're high DPS, it appeared from that one incident that they take that very seriously. They're very proud of themselves. So the one place I asked was on Discord. Oh, That was the worst. Oh my gosh. Somebody did a whole entire screen rant about how easy this game is. Basically saying everybody who doesn't think Tom is easy is garbage, which is the majority of players think Tom is hard. Because if you're in Tom with 8 experienced players and you have 2 new players, it's going to be a shit show because you just need one player to mess up that hypo. And wait till mod 23 comes when he hits twice as hard. Yeah, it's. eh, I would never say Tom is easy, even though it can be 3 man. Those are like the 3 elite players doing it. Generally, 10 man groups, if you don't know all 10, it's usually not going to be a successful run because all it takes is one person to mess it up, break the ice, right? So, yeah, I couldn't do that. Reddit was great. Go to Reddit. There's a bunch of good comments. The second high deep comment on there was means you not only put out a lot of damage, but you also know mechanics and don't get yourself killed in hardcore mode. That's great. Almost sounds like experienced and high DPS in one. I don't know. I cannot define what high DPS is. If I thought I knew what it was after reading all these comments, there's no way that I from these 225 comments, I don't think anybody could make a standard definition. Facebook was great too. Wow, Facebook was actually amazing. Um, there were some comments in there that got like 12 upvotes. And there's a lot of opinions and jokes in there, but some people really tried. One player's definition of high DPS was that you'll be the top of the leaderboard. I don't necessarily know because if you're with 2 brand new people, you're supposed to be top of the leaderboard, right? I don't know. Um, oh, speaking of leaderboard, Discord. Yeah, if you guys don't know, the leaderboard, yes, it is a great place for trolls to come out of the woodworks. I saw a screenshot last night. This guy was pissed that he didn't get first in. Tom, no, not Tom. T9. I was like, we can solo that. Why are people competing in solo content that's scaled? But it was quite funny. It was just very obvious how much the leaderboard being on first meant to him. How pissed he wasn't that he wasn't first. And I can't say names on that because I don't want to throw anybody under the bus. The leaderboard is amazing on PS4 because it's the only tool we really have to measure any adjustments we make if they're working or not. Because I know the leaderboard is very inconsistent in 5 man content, but in 10 man content, if you're running with the same group a couple runs, the numbers start becoming very similar, and you can start measuring if your adjustments are working or not. And same with Crown, probably more so for Tom and Zero because they're a lot more static. They don't move around as much as Crown does. Uh, yeah, but it was just so funny that asking about that term invoked the rage of the leaderboard. Oh my god, if you run with alliance members, generally you don't even ever hear a comment about the leaderboard. Um, I don't know. I remember when I was coming up in the game, anytime I saw somebody do a lot of damage, I messaged him. I said, "Impressive. Will you share your secrets or build or tips?" And I learned from a lot of great players. Um, I love this definition. It's subjective, but we don't allow the term in our alliance because it's subjective. I agree 1,000,000% because all it does is invoke the trolling. Oh, um, yeah. You can be high DPS in a run and you think you're tough shit or hot shit, I mean, and then the next run just get annihilated, and then you realize how strong you're not. And the unfortunate thing is, most people that I would consider high DPS, most players will never get a run with them because they, they don't. It's not that they don't want to run with people; they usually just don't randomly run with people because they farm the hell out of events or new dungeons and new trials to get really good, and they're just burnt out on it, and they just don't want to do another training run or random run. And there's usually no reason to really run. Um, for them, there's no use in them running most content right now. And I'm looking for, see if I can find any. Usually high DPS pops up a lot in PE, but I guess it's not popping up right now because it's later in the day in the morning. Everybody's trying to get their queues in. for this event, and they're reapering for the day. So the morning is generally a lot more busier on PS4 anyways than it is in the evening. Yeah, so I'm not seeing a lot of high DPS, but usually it's littered with high DPS. And so long story short, what's a high DPS? I don't know. Uh, all I know is the people who probably are high DPS will never, rarely say they are. Um, uh, because there's a fine line between being top damage and not being top damage. It can be down to one crit. It's a Yeah, when you get to really end game where people start going for time, yeah, it's very hard to define that term. Yeah, so be prepared. There's an amazing video coming out soon by another person who does YouTube videos, and I imagine it's going to be 10 times better than this. And I wish I could give everybody some insights on what it really is, but I'm more confused than I've ever been about that term. 226 different definitions of high DPS. So basically, if somebody uses it, they're just confusing me. I can't join. I'm so confused. I don't know what you're looking for. I have no idea. Well, there you go. Stay classy, Neverwinter. See you soon.